Hi, I'm Lisa. I am with the SHARE project here in Haywood County, and SHARE stands for Spreading Hope and Awareness and Removing the Epidemic Stigma. And we've been trying to target one of those words in each of these interviews: spreading hope, spreading awareness, removing the stigma. And I think today's interview is a little bit more about just removing the stigma. We will touch on spreading hope a little bit, but I think more than anything, because of the conversation that we're having today, we are just removing some of the stigma surrounding substance use and addiction, and we are just having a conversation. We are moms today, okay? I have been talking with resources, people in charge of resources, directors, those kinds of things, and a lot of the other interviews. Well, today, I just have moms, and we are going to share our hearts a little bit today. The two ladies that are with me are part of one of our support groups at the SHARE project. The support group they are a part of is the one that has loved ones that are still struggling or in recovery, still struggling from substance use or addiction. And so we're just going to get right into it. I have Lisa and Dianne today. I'm going to let them tell you just a little bit about themselves to start with, and then we're going to get into talking about our kids and where they are in life. So I'll let you guys take it away.
Okay. Hi, I am Lisa. I am a real estate agent here in town. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and I have 4 grandchildren, 2 boys and 2 girls. And I have 4 dogs, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay, great. Okay.
Hey, and I'm Dianne, and grew up here in Haywood County, and I have 2 sons, and I have actually 2 dogs that are actually both male as well.
Okay.
I do have a grandson and a granddaughter.
Okay, awesome. And tell me just a little bit about your past, if you will, as far as were you a single mom, divorced, have you been married all along? Tell me a little bit about that history, if you don't mind.
Okay. Unfortunately, I've been married, divorced, married, and widowed.
Okay.
So,
Okay. How long did you have the kids on your own?
I've had them on my own really pretty much their entire lives.
Okay.
I've always been, seems like the situation that I was in, I always ended up being like the main breadwinner and the main support, and so I felt like that I've raised 4 kids all on my own.
As a single parent, basically. Dianne?
Okay, and I'm divorced and raised my kids both by myself. A little help from grandparents, here and there, but other than that, there was no long-standing male role model at all, a father in the picture, and that was their choice.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your child or children that are struggling with substance use.
My youngest daughter struggles with substance abuse. She, and it really actually came as a huge shock. She was always a really good girl, sweet, never gave me any trouble whatsoever. She cheered all through middle school. She cheered for the local high school. Like I said, never gave me any trouble, never drank or did anything. And she dated a guy. She dated a guy all through her high school years, and they were engaged to be married the year after she graduated high school. And I really don't know what happened. I think she got cold feet, and she called the wedding off 5 days before the wedding. And she didn't want to break up with the young man. she just didn't want to get married right then. She wanted to wait a little bit longer. And that's not what he wanted. He wanted to be married. And so he told her he never wanted to speak to her again. And that was when the first go around of her addiction started. I didn't even really realize it for a long time what was happening. I just, because she kind of hid it from me a lot better then. And we went through several years of that go around of addiction. Then she got clean on her own, and in December of 2018, November of 2018, it started again, and it was very obvious this time, and she wasn't trying to hide it, and it's been a roller coaster ride ever since.
Okay.
So,
Dianne?
Okay, I guess my son in high school and middle school, he played sports, so he done well there. Very involved in church and activities with church, and we even went on a mission trip, and just really the right head on his shoulders at that time. And then somewhere, I'm not sure, he had a foot injury in high school and couldn't finish playing sports. And I don't know if the drug addiction got worse or came into play at that point or not. I know some of the kids used to go to parties and things like that, and I didn't see it. I didn't see it started with an addiction to pills, and I didn't see it. I didn't know that was happening until he came to me and told me I have a problem.
And how old was he at that point?
He was, I think he had graduated high school before I knew that.
Was he prescribed pain pills?
He was not.
Okay.
And he also went through back issues. He had an injury from lifting weights in school, and they didn't give him, we went through physical therapy for that, but somewhere along the line the pills came into play. And then it went from that, which, he tried to get into a rehab program, and then he did get into a outpatient prescription program, but then things just kept getting worse. He would do well with something for a while, and then other drugs came into play.
Right.
So it just kept escalating and getting worse.
Right. So your son has struggled with in and out for how long?
It has been 10, 11 years.
Okay. Wow.
Probably.
Wow.
And same with her.
Okay, about the same amount of time. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about that conversation when she came to you, and you knew.
Oh, she never came to me.
This latest time. Okay.
Oh, she never came to me. It was obvious.
It was obvious.
It was obvious by the things that she was doing. And I just started really paying attention to things that were going on. It was obvious.
Yeah.
She was getting in trouble. She started getting in trouble with the police.
Wow. Yeah.
And she didn't try to hide it.
Yeah.
So.
And what about you? When he came to you then and said that he was struggling with pills,
Right.
what was that conversation like?
Well, he called me.
Okay.
I was at work, and he called me, and he's like, I've got to have some help. And so I started checking around, trying to find something. Things didn't work out to begin with, to try to even get him in somewhere. So it's a struggle finding a place.
Yeah. Did you know at all at that time, or were you basically
No, I had no clue. None.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was shocked, and then when I would think back, it'd be, he was spending money more than typical, and it would be like, I need some gas money, or I need this, or I need that.
Right.
And I didn't think anything about it, but it was, and I didn't know what to do to fix it,
Yeah.
or how to help.
Knew nothing.
Knew nothing.
Knew nothing at all. So with your daughter, did you just think it was, just using drugs? She was, partying, having fun to some extent. She was getting in trouble with the law, but did you realize it was an addiction
No,
Okay.
no, I absolutely did not. I've struggled with that.
Yeah.
Because for months and months and a year, over a year, I could not understand why she just would not stop. And that's what I would ask her, why will you not just stop?
Okay.
You know, if you love me, if you love your family, you can just stop. And I didn't realize that no, she couldn't just stop, because I wasn't looking at it as a disease. I was looking at it
Yes.
in another way. So I've educated myself more
Mhm.
about everything and have a whole different view on it than I did before.
Yeah.
So,
And with your son, you, I guess, kind of knew it was an addiction if he told you he had a problem. I mean, did he realize it was an addiction, or did he just realize that he,
I think at the time he realized he had a problem, but I don't know if he really grasped how strong a hold that addiction took on him. And you know, and went on for years with this, even through like a rehab center and then detox center, and the draw is still there to take him back in to use again.
So at what point then for you, Dianne, did you realize it was an addiction and not just a problem?
I think it still took me a little while to realize that. And even now I'm still learning the extent of it. And
it's because you don't want to admit to yourself that they are an addict. You
Right.
do not want to admit that to yourself.
no,
Or neglect anybody else.
Yes. And so that was one of the questions. Why do you think that is as moms? Why do you think that we, and I'm including myself in on this, but why do you think we don't? Why do you think that we don't want to admit that they aren't perfect? Why do you think that we struggle with that so much?
Well, for one thing, because we're scared of what everybody else is going to think.
Okay.
For one thing.
Stigma?
Stigma. Yeah. And I don't know, just putting a label on it is scary. For me, I mean, it was just scary, just admitting to myself that my daughter had a problem.
right, me too.
Do you think that because of that, you ignored some of the realities of the severity of the situation?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would agree.
Well, and you're afraid too. You don't know what to do to fix it. You want to fix them, you can't fix them. And trying to find the right path to get them help is terrible. It's real hard.
The hardest thing I've ever been through in my life.
Did you think that you needed to be able to fix them?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes.
we still want to fix them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still want to fix them.
Yeah.
But now we kind of know better now on
Yeah.
what is the enablings, the big
Yeah.
parts, and
Yeah, absolutely. Do you, as you realized the severity of the problem, that they were addicted, they needed help, did you talk to other people? I mean, beyond people that you encountered in the treatment centers and, the law, did you have a circle of support around you at all that you as a mom could talk to, that you could unload on, that you could get advice from, that you could turn to them to help you be strong? Did you have a support system around you at all?
Yes and no. To begin with, no. You don't know what to say to people. You don't have. I didn't have that to talk to. People to talk to. Family knew a little bit to begin with, but not everything. And friends, you have, some friends you can talk to,
so,
and some you can't. And then other than meeting people that's in the same situation where you really feel that you can talk, yeah, that they understand.
Yes. Did you realize how many others, other people around you were in similar situations? Did you, as you started talking about it with others, did you find out that there were others like you, if you will, other moms that were struggling with children substance use?
Yes. There is, because other people feel the same way that we are. They don't want to discuss it, they don't want to talk about it, and they don't want to be judged. So you would be surprised at the people that do have someone that they don't talk about it either. Because of what people will think, so.
Yes. Stigma.
Yes.
Again. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Keeps us quiet.
It does.
Yes. When we start talking, then we start realizing how many others there are around, and we could have had other people to reach out to. Yes,
Well, I've started talking now, and I'm not going to shut up now, so.
It's the only way. It's
Yep.
the only way that we're going to get rid of that stigma and that judging and that labeling. You know, is the more we talk about it, and the more you realize,
Right.
Dianne and Lisa are pretty normal people. You know, that we're the everyday mom on the corner. You know, I mean, you know, in the neighborhoods, you described their younger years as being very, you know, you thought you were doing everything right. You know, and the more we talk about that, you know, I think the more we can destigmatize addiction. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Did you both struggle with guilt?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Lots of guilt. And I don't know about you, but I think so. My daughter guilted me on purpose. That was part of her manipulation, was to guilt me. So yes, I felt.
Yeah, and then you have enough of it without that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You do feel guilty for what
What could I have done different?
Why didn't I see this, or why, you know, all the questions that you wind up with.
And where are you with that now, at this point in your lives, with guilt?
Better than I was, but you still have,
Absolutely.
that guilt.
I'm better about it too, but there's still a little
There's
bit
still
there.
those moments. Those
It'll
moments of
always
guilt.
be there.
Absolutely, I agree.
It'll
I
always
agree.
be there.
Even though I know I'm not guilty.
Yes.
You know, that we are not to blame. You know, I think it's, I guess, a mom's nature, I guess.
It is.
I don't know. I haven't figured that one out yet. Absolutely. Okay, so now you both talked a little bit, you in particular talked a little bit about educating yourself. What role did that play then? As you did that change your whole view of your daughter? Did it change your whole view of the way you looked at addiction as a disease?
Yes.
What role did educating yourself, and tell me a little bit what that looked like for you. I mean, did you you started talking to people? Did you read? Did you videos? What did that education look like for you?
Well, I have talked to everybody that will talk to me. I've talked to police officers, I've talked to lawyers, I've talked to judges, I've talked to people like you, I've talked to anybody that would talk to me. I have read numerous books, I've watched videos, I've looked stuff up online, and it just, it made me realize what was actually happening to my daughter's brain. And it just changed my whole entire outlook, not only on her, but for other people as well. So, educate yourself. Education is the best thing, because I don't know.
Yeah, the more people do that, the better, because they will understand that there's so much more to it
Yes.
than just putting a label on them.
And just saying why don't you just stop?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which is, that is an overwhelming thing that you hear in this world is, why don't you just stop?
Yeah.
Why don't you just stop? You know, why do you keep choosing
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Yes.
And now it actually makes me angry.
Yeah.
Now that I know differently, I get angry when I hear people say that.
Yeah, because they say some really hurtful things.
Yes, they
People
do.
do, you know, about our kids, other people's kids, their family, and they are worth saving. They're worth loving.
Yeah.
We just have to
Absolutely.
understand and try to help them.
Absolutely. Okay, so shifting gears just a little bit, during the process of, actually, let's back up just a second, okay? Tell me where your kids are right now,
Okay.
if you don't mind,
I don't care.
okay?
My daughter is currently in a rehab facility in Hickory. It is a Christian-based recovery program, and she will be there for a year. And she's doing great.
Awesome.
Doing great.
Yeah, and she chose it,
Yes.
you know, with a little convincing.
With a little
She chose it,
convincing.
yes, which is an important part of the whole thing, is choosing to take that step, so. Okay?
Okay, and I'll lead up to where mine's at with a little background. He did go to a 2-year rehab program and unfortunately chose to leave it early. So because he was on probation too, then he had probation violation with it. So now, because of all that, he's actually in prison now and has a few more months to go. And so we're dealing with that.
And how is he doing?
He,
Best you can tell.
best as I can tell, okay. It's rough places. They actually moved him from one place to another today. And so he's even further away than he was.
Oh, yeah.
And but I think it's a large prison, and I just have to hope and pray that he can stay safe there.
Okay, so now that being said, now that you know where both of them are, and you know a little bit of history with your encounters with law enforcement, your encounters with treatment centers, detox centers, those types of facilities, if you will. Tell me a little bit about what we could do better as far as how we handle the criminalizing addiction and the trouble they get into because of possibly having drugs on them, those types of things. What could we do better as far as how we handle imprisoning someone suffering with substance use, and is there alternatives to that in your opinion? Especially here in Haywood County, but in general.
Go ahead.
Does that make sense?
I'll let you go first.
Oh boy.
We need more places. We need help for them. We need a place they can go to get the help, for one, prior to winding up in prison, for one, but we need rehab centers. And instead of just sending them to prison, say, okay, we're going to put you there, give them the opportunity to go to a rehab or somewhere they can get the help they need, because a lot of times there's underlying issues they have too that they're dealing with. And if you just send them straight to prison and you say, okay, we're going to give you this much time, then 9 times out of 10, they're not going to get the help they need in there.
Yeah.
They're just there. They're building hard time, as it's called, and no therapy. Probably medicines maybe they need, maybe they don't, that they can maybe need to be on if they've got depression, they've got anxiety, any other issues like that. But we need to be able to help them so they can come out and stay sober, or they can go to a rehab place.
Yes.
And health. We need more facilities for mental
Mhm.
health as well. We need more groups like this. We
Mhm.
need the community to come together, because this community is overrun with this issue, and it's not going to go away.
No.
We've got people that thinks that, oh, just take them somewhere else or
Mhm.
whatever, it's going to go away. It's not going away. It's only going to get worse, and putting them in jail does not help. It actually makes them worse.
Yeah.
And I don't agree, and I may be speaking out of line here, I don't know, but I don't agree with whatever this system is called, where they let them, like, they get in trouble, then they put it off in the court. So while they're waiting to go back to court, they get in more trouble. And then they put it off, and they keep putting it off, and they keep getting in more trouble, and they get arrested, and they get out, and it's this vicious cycle.
Yes.
So while all this is going on, by the time my daughter was finally done, because she went to prison for 3 months, before, in less than a year, she had racked up 32 felonies
Woo! Mercy.
in less than a year.
Wow.
And it's because of the way the system is putting the court date's being put off,
Yes.
and then her getting in more trouble, and then those are it's a vicious cycle.
Missing court dates.
And
I've seen that happen. You know, they're in jail and missing court date over in another county.
Yeah,
And they don't even know they're missing it, so they get out, and then they've had the failure to appear, and you got this big charge there, and it is a vicious cycle. Seems there should be a way for them to communicate amongst each other. For one thing, they're, you know, the different,
Right.
or at least a better way, because it doesn't seem like they're doing real good.
Something's not working
Something's
right.
not working.
Something's not working right. And I will give credit to the law enforcement, because I feel like that they're getting them, they're arresting them, but then, the courts are letting them go. I do feel that the law enforcement is doing their job, and they're doing all they can do.
Yeah.
I think they kind of feel like they've lost the battle, and they're just sustaining. They're just trying to, keep it.
Hold their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the town's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not gonna get better.
No, it's not.
And
gonna
we've
get
got
better.
to, we can't just keep fighting the people that want to help. There are some
Yes.
organizations and groups that do want to help, but yet they keep getting,
The community's got to stand behind them.
yeah,
Give them the support that they need,
and then if
so
they
we
fail
can-
on their own, then so be it, they failed on their own, but at least give them a chance to
Yes.
help, I agree, it's.
And a lot of times it's the people that they do not have an addicted loved one. I think if they had an addicted loved one, they would feel differently about it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that, yeah. Okay, just a couple of more questions. What role, we talked a little bit about having a support system and that kind of thing. You both have found, and not just this support group, but you both have found some support groups in the past and a support system. What role also has that played? You educated yourself a little bit. What role has finding a support group, support system, what has that meant to you?
Well, we found each other, so, and we've become really good friends, and come to find out our kids knew each other.
Exactly.
And that helps a lot, just having someone to talk to that's going through the same things that you are, and you don't feel judged by this person. You feel like you can tell them anything, and they're not going to judge you.
That's it.
Having other people is very, very, very important.
It is.
It is. Just to hold you up,
You know
keep you
you're
strong,
not alone
keep-
any longer. You've got friends and you've got people that care.
But honestly, I went to another group. It wasn't for me. I don't even know if the group even exists anymore. But other than this group and that group, I don't know anywhere else to go. I can't drive to Asheville on a week.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to drive to Asheville. I should be able to do it right here in my own town.
Yeah.
So-
Absolutely. What do you want out of a support group? If you could, make your own very good support group.
Education. I want
Education.
more
Mhm.
education.
Yeah.
I would actually like to be hands-on doing something.
Mhm.
Like I'm a doer. I want to be doing something to help these kids. I don't know what, but I just know I want to be doing something hands-on. And there isn't a whole lot of that goes on either.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. I like it.
Yeah, I can agree with all that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're going to close it. Okay. We're going to let you have the final word.
because I want to read.
Yes, I know. Okay. Any last final message? A bottom line. What would be one final message you would like to talk to another mom out there? Talk to a dad. Talk to somebody who's in, the same role that we are in as having a loved one struggling. What would be one final message that you would like to get across and have them know?
We're here. We're here for you. We care. Reach out to someone. Reach out to a group. Reach out to. Don't feel ashamed anymore. Let people know that, we're all struggling. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Support your loved ones, as best as you can. Give them the emotional support, whatever they need to try to get on track.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. All right, and Lisa's gonna close us out. She's gonna read something for us.
Okay. It's a little long, so
That's all right.
just listen and
That's
be
all right.
patient.
Yes.
Okay, this is a message to the mom with an addicted child. Dear Mom, I know you're tired. There are no words for the pain that you feel, only tears. Your child's addiction is destroying you. You avoid people who ask too many questions because honestly you do not have the answers. How does one explain what it's like to watch their precious child struggling with addiction? You've kissed their face 1,000 times. You've watched them as they slept and held their hand when they were learning to walk. You taught them to look both ways before crossing the street. You made sure that they wore their helmet and buckled their seatbelt. You've been their #1 cheerleader, and no one in the world will ever love your child like you do. Once upon a time, you could fix it all, but now you can't. You feel lonely and disconnected from everyone. Only you don't tell people this. You don't want your friends feeling sorry for you or judging you or your child. Instead, you just suck it up, put on a brave face, and carry on. You've tried so hard to do everything right, and you wonder where you went wrong. You search your mind for any telltale signs that you missed. Looking back, you try and make sense of how you got here. Maybe addiction is in your DNA. Maybe your grandpa passed it on. He liked to drink. Or was it your husband, the one who seldom drank, but when he did, always went overboard? Or maybe it was the neighbor's kid, the one who introduced your child to smoking weed. You did your best to protect them. You kept them safe. You clothed and you fed them, and you kissed their scraped knee and checked under their bed for monsters. But you never dreamed the scariest monster of all lived inside your child. This monster lies in your child's voice, moves in your child's body, and has taken over your child's mind. You call this monster addiction. Now you feel that this monster will kill your child. You wonder, how does one go about slaying a monster that dwells inside their precious child? You've tried everything in your power to help them. You've lied for them and given them money to cover their debts. You've been their personal ATM machine, their housekeeper, their counselor, their police officer, and their undercover cop. But nothing you do works, and worse still, your child does not appreciate your efforts. Your child isn't the only one with a monster. You've changed too. You're drained and you're empty. You drag yourself through the days longing for bedtime when you can finally seek release through sleep. Your mask is starting to slip and you're mad at everyone. While friends and family move on with their life, you fester. The anger that covers your pain is suffocating all that is good in your life. Dear Mom, hold on. Stop beating yourself up. You didn't cause this illness, but there is much you need to learn. First and foremost, please reach out for help. Do not allow your child's addiction to destroy you. Instead, learn how to love your child without enabling their illness. You will need safe people in your life who have walked in your shoes and can provide you with emotional support. Feelings that remain stuffed and hidden become a toxic wasteland of resentment and self-pity. You won't help your child by becoming sick too. Dear Mom, your child's addiction isn't about you. Addiction has nothing to do with the love between a child and their mother. Addiction is a brain disease that leads to changes in the structure and the functioning of the brain. The initial use of alcohol or drugs for most people is voluntarily. However, over time, the changes in the brain caused by repeated drug or alcohol abuse impairs a person's impulse control and their ability to make good decisions. Dear Mom, one of the hardest things you will ever do is to let go, not of their child, but of their illness. Let go of how you thought things should be and accept what is. Let go of the urge to fix, control, and rescue them. Let go of over-functioning on their behalf, allow your child to feel the consequences of their actions will encourage them to seek help. Dear Mom, it's natural to feel a little broken, but be kind to yourself, erase the old negative tapes and insert new positive ones. No matter how many times you hear it, it's not your fault. Your mother's heart will not believe it, but guilt is normal. Try to believe it anyway. Dear Mom, addiction is a family illness. You cannot cure your child and you cannot control them, but you can influence the outcome. Someone has to make the hard choices. Be open to learning and doing new things. Don't wait for your sick child to ask for help. Lead the way. Involve professionals. They will navigate the pathway from addiction to recovery. And last, never give up hope. 23 million families across North America are living in recovery and leading wonderful, productive lives. Although it may seem like the heartache will never end, it can, and it does for many. And if you know someone that needs help, contact any one of us or contact Lisa at the Share Project.